Oh my God, AOA podcast back for another episode. Look at this. The live chat is filled. I love seeing that. It's a Wednesday. We've got a whole slew of topics, including Diddy winning one for once. He won a judgment. We'll share that with you. MSNBC is in trouble. Food influencer Keith Lee shuts down a sushi chain off of one food review. And Frankie C is back. Oh my goodness.
What's up? What's going on?
We never thought it would happen, but he's here.
It was a great vacation, but glad to be back with everybody. It was a while. It's been a while, but here we are.
I have not spoken to him since he was gone. We haven't talked or caught up or anything. We will do that with you on this episode. I did the reveal, Frank. You were the reveal.
I wonder why I wasn't on the screen.
You were backstage, and then all of a sudden you were right there in front of her.
Love it.
I want to add, you know what? These are fast topics, so we can go through the day's news and jump right into your big 2-week vacation.
Yeah, let's go through the topics, and then we'll dive in.
Excellent. Okay. So we alluded to this on the last episode, just to catch you and everybody else up who has been out of the country. Diddy had his jail cell raided not too long ago, and his lawyers complained about that because they said they took client privileged items out of his jail cell. According to the Brooklyn Detention Center where he's at, they said that they raided all the jail cells, not just his. It wasn't a targeted effort. They were going through everybody just to see if there was any contraband, if there was any, extra bed sheets.
Cells, like Shawshank Redemption. You got to toss the cells.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently.
And supposedly they came across an envelope that said legal, which was like closed up, like sealed up a little bit. And they felt that to see if there was anything in there. And they didn't think so at the time, but they did wind up taking all those items out. And that's when Diddy, started complaining. His lawyers got on it. They filed a motion and the judge ruled on it today. And he told the prosecutors, destroy all of those things that you took from that jail cell. It is all inadmissible. And the judge, from what I understand, because this is kind of breaking news, from what I understand, this is being reported by TMZ, the judge kind of gave the prosecutors a little bit of a look and a stern warning of like, watch your shit, because this was a very big overreach, and you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, not for nothing, but this case, listen, I don't know how it's going to shake out, but seems like a bit of a slam dunk. So don't do anything stupid to mess it up.
Right.
Like you violate whatever law, code, or rights or whatever, and everything gets thrown out, and then all of a sudden this asshole is out on the street again doing his fucked up stuff. So, yeah, go by the book, get this guy, and get all his people that is involved with this craziness, and do it right.
You get it. You never. How many days of law school did you go through? How many?
Half a day. They didn't serve the lunch I wanted in the cafeteria, so I was like, I'm out of here.
Did you pass the bar on your second try?
I never pass the bar. I go right in and I take a drink.
Third time's a charm? No. For me, it was the seventh. Was it the seventh time?
No. For me, 7 times a charm. 7 times.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It's an open and shut thing. You got a lot of stuff there. You don't need to be doing these kinds of things. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what I mean. I'm sure there's a mountain of evidence that we don't know about that they've got. They raided his houses. They got all whatever these
his phones.
His phones. There's apparently tapes of whatever. There's people that. Not only victims, of course, but witnesses, eyewitnesses, and whatever's going on. I mean, if there's more than what we know, then it's got to be like a slam dunk.
It really should be. And on top of, by the way, on top of this, he's also got to face over 120 that we know of at the moment, civil lawsuits afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he fights every last one of them, he could be in a courtroom and wins every last one of them, including this one. He could be in a courtroom for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know,
Even if he wins all of them, yeah, he's still. How
even
long
if
does one trial take?
even if he runs the table, he is going to be in a courtroom every day for the rest of his life.
Right, which I can't see him running the table, but sure.
Yeah. I was surprised though, because the last episode we got the story that he's intimidated. He's jumping on phone calls with other people. He's like he's using his family. Like he'll call his family. He's got an approved list, so he'll call his like kids or whatever, and they're calling other people so that he can talk to other people that he's not supposed to be talking to. Again, all those phone conversations are monitored and recorded. So I don't know why he's doing that, but he's trying to intimidate witnesses. And you would think that the judge would have been like, this guy is a danger, so we're just checking and making sure. And no, the judge was like, you guys need to destroy this information immediately. And
so he's knowingly, the judge and everybody knows he's intimidating witnesses, and they're not doing anything about that.
well, the prosecution is looking into it right now, but they say through monitors that they know for sure he's jumping on and talking to people that he shouldn't be talking to.
I mean,
the leap might be the intimidation. Yeah, right. It might be the intimidation thing, but it's like there's a reason why there's people on your list and not on your list. So if you're talking to people not on your list, what do you think he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, how is that even allowed? I mean, there's got to be. Isn't there like hey, we could see what number you're calling kind of a thing? And nope, stop it. Or we'll dial the phone for you.
Yeah,
Or
well,
I don't know. I mean,
it's like, but it's like he's calling his kid, and then his kid's got somebody else on the other line.
oh, they're like connecting through the
Right.
that like a technicality, but
I don't know, but you
like,
shouldn't be doing it.
legal.
Yeah, and even if he's not doing that, if he's telling his son or his lawyers or whoever he's telling, hey, you need to call so and so and let them know. I know it's that it's intimidation. You can't be doing that kind of stuff.
Right, and like you said, if they're recording everything, then you're just digging yourself deeper into a deeper hole. I mean, you're already in the center of the earth. I don't know how much deeper you can get, but it ain't helping.
He's gonna come out on the other side. He goes any deeper.
Right.
Frankie C. People in the hallways of MSNBC are shitting themselves.
They're shitting themselves? That's terrible.
Yes.
They shouldn't be doing that in the hallways.
Bad. Somebody stole the wrong salads and passed them around. And
let's see.
Yeah. No, there's panic at MSNBC. They say NBC is owned by Comcast now. And Comcast confirmed that they're going to have a massive spinoff of all their cable properties. A top executive even suggested the left-leaning network may be forced to change its name because MSNBC, NBC is Comcast. If they decide to spin off the cable channels, they won't be NBC anymore. So this idea that they might have to change their name and their whole approach is something that is becoming more and more apparent as people are unsure of what is going to happen with this spin-off company that Comcast is going to use. Rachel Maddow, Chris Jansing, and Katie Tur joined a 10 a.m. meeting at 30 Rock, according to reports, led by NBC Universal Chairman Mark Lazarus, who will lead the new company. Staffers fearing looming layoffs peppered him with questions about if the network will need to change its name, logos, headquarters, after reports surfaced that the new entity could be cut off from the reporting muscle of NBC News. Lazarus told staffers that he wasn't sure if the network would have to change its identity or its home, according to people who leaked information to the media. Everyone is in a panic because everything is up in the air, one MSNBC source told the New York Post. Another insider close to the network added, people don't really know what's going on. They had the election, holidays are coming up, people are tired, and they're just trying to get through everything. Network representatives declined to comment. So,
I mean, if it sounds like a bigger deal than it probably is. Like the name's going to change. Whatever. It's like a radio station changing its format. It's like
Well,
I
you
mean, that's
know
a
how
big
well they
deal.
do those
It's a
things.
big deal. But what I'm saying is, not even it's not even that, because it's going to be probably still news, and depending on who's running it,
Would it?
I don't know.
I mean, think about it like a radio station sale. Like they sell the radio station to somebody else, and somebody else is like, I don't want a country station. I want I want a hip hop station.
oh yeah,
And
whoever buys it is could do whatever they want with it, I'm sure. But
like, so they're
I,
going to spin it off into its own company. And so now they're going to be forced with, well, you're not going to have NBC, because so people probably don't get this, but NBC News, CBS News, Fox News, these are all large entities, and they all spill out to not only Fox News channel, but Fox News radio. The New York Post, I believe, is part of Fox, if I'm not mistaken. And the same thing with NBC. NBC handles NBC Nightly News, MSNBC, CNBC. Like, this one umbrella of news funnels to all these places. So if they spin cable off and they don't have that big umbrella pushing information out to them, they're going to have to figure that out on their own. So then it becomes, well, if you don't have the parent company or news organization, then you either have to associate or affiliate yourself with somebody else, or just change direction and become something else entirely altogether. Because if you think about it, like, look at this from a realistic perspective. Let's say, we're part of NBC News, and so NBC has to pay their reporters, their investigative journalists, so on and so forth. They have to figure that all out. So you're paying money up to the parent company because you're using a resource of theirs, and that's how they're making revenue so that they can pay their people, right? But how much reporting is MSNBC really doing? Versus,
aren't they? They're a major news network, aren't they?
no, they're a cable news network, but
Yeah,
NBC
24 hours
News,
news.
right? But NBC News is the news bureau, right? So think about it this way: how different is it? What MSNBC has become, and Fox News and CNN, really, for that matter, from what we're doing. I mean, how much are they really breaking a story and reporting on a story versus
I feel like every news
commenting
is
on
breaking news.
Well, because they throw the breaking news banner out there, but really only one place can have the story unless it's a press release. So if somebody finds it out, really they're all just reacting to news the way we are on podcasts. So it's like, if you don't have, so now if you don't have this big parent thing to support you, do you continue to call yourself MSNBC, or do you just become the modern news channel? Or
Well, whatever. Call it whatever you want. If the difference is going to be how much is it going to change? Is it, and what entities underneath are going to change? Like how all their branches, the if it's just MSNBC cable news, is that going to change much? We don't know. It depends on who buys it.
I change
But
it.
the rest of NBC is probably going to stay the same, right?
Oh,
All the
yeah.
NBC
Well, yeah.
stuff.
This spinoff is just going to be the cable channels. So
No,
CNBC and MSNBC.
Now, when you say spin-off, what do you mean? Like when I hear spin-off, I think of they're going to take all the news programs that's on MSNBC and make them their own.
I don't know, but they're the ones spinning it off.
Very
No,
well.
meaning right now that channel is part of NBC, Universal, Comcast, right? That's the company. Like, Comcast owns NBC Universal. Universal is Universal Studios, NBC, like all those,
Whatever.
all that jazz. So if they
Can't keep track
become
of all these names.
if they become their own company, then they have their own CEO.
Oh, okay.
They have
So
their
when you say
own.
spin-off, you don't mean spin-off, you mean sold, gone.
Well, no, because that would be, well, I mean, that maybe somebody would buy them, but when I say spinoff, I mean, it'll just become its own company. They'll have to have their own,
Right. It's going to be just,
corporation.
they're selling. It's like if Coca-Cola sold Sprite to someone and someone else just made it their own thing.
Right.
It's
Or if,
their own.
no, really what it is more of if Sprite became their own soda company.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Not if somebody was
So
buying them.
MSNBC is going to operate on whatever MSNBC is going to morph into. It's going to become its own
Right.
organization that
Which
operates however it's going to operate.
which changes the game, because then it's like, well, then you have to rent, like you said, like they said, their headquarters. Well, now you have to pay rent. Like if you're in the NBC building, you're not paying rent. You're part of the company. But if you're not part of the company anymore, then you have to start paying rent.
Paying rent, or who's going to buy it? If someone buys it, then they're not like it was. What if CNN buys it?
Yeah,
Then
they
they
could.
don't have to worry about rent or anything. It's another branch of CNN.
Yeah, but but then they'd have to relocate.
Okay.
They'd have to move their headquarters. Interestingly enough, though, NBC News, obviously, NBC Sports, Telemundo, which is on cable, the Peacock streaming service, and Bravo, which is also a cable channel, are going to remain under the NBC Universal umbrella. So usually, like, spinoffs like this happen when something is either toxic and not doing well and dragging down the rest of the company, and they're getting ready to sell it, or they're just straight up getting ready to sell it. But we know that their viewership is down. I mean, cable news viewership is down across the board. Fox News is still a beast and still winning, but not what it was 10 years ago.
Well, I think the reason for that is because the people who watch Fox, I feel, are a little older and watch their news on TV. The younger audience gets their news through clips and through us and through YouTube, and so they might watch CNN and MSNBC or Fox, but they're getting that not from watching the show, watching the 15-minute clip on YouTube or whatever.
Right, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram.
When the rating, I mean, I don't know how much ratings matter anymore when you could sell, hey, look at our views on YouTube. I mean, ratings fine, but I don't think ratings are king anymore.
Not like they were. And I mean, they're still important for pulling in revenue, but again, revenue isn't the same when you're putting that clip out on YouTube versus, unless you're selling sponsorships to it.
Exactly. If you're getting 2 million, a million views an episode for a 15-minute clip on YouTube, that's probably better than whatever you're getting on your station for an hour. It's probably more than you're probably getting more than that.
And they're just not, they're like, their numbers are in the toilet. Like we're talking like maybe 200,000 views. Like it's not a lot of the viewership for these cable news channels are not a lot. And here's the problem too. You're carrying shows like Morning Joe and Rachel Maddow and all these things, and their contracts and everything were set up 5, 6, 7 years ago. So they're making money for what it was then, and now the revenue is not there anymore, so all those people are on their way out. We saw it with Chris Wallace the other day. Like, he's leaving CNN. He's like, I'm just going to go do my own podcast, because it's like he's not a ratings draw anymore. They're putting him on panel. They're paying him money like they would an anchor to just sit there and panel. It's like, you got to go. You're out. You're not going to. It's the economics are not really presenting themselves the way they used to anymore. So, it's uncertainty. It's not a foregone conclusion. But again, when you look at the landscape of it, okay, you have Fox on this side, and they're battling with Newsmax and I don't know if One Nation or OAN, or I don't even know if that's fucking still around. So that's all there. And then you have CNN, MSNBC, News Nation is a new thing now. Is there another one? I feel like we might be forgetting another. Is there another one?
I'm sure there are like CBS and ABC and all them things.
Oh, yeah. And not to mention, all of them have 24-hour news networks that are streaming. So if you have Hulu or you have YouTube TV, or like I have Fubo TV, those CBS and NBC, they're streaming 24-hour news networks now. So if you like genuinely want news, you're better off going there than going to see, because you watch a Rachel Maddow episode and you might get 4 minutes of actual news out of an hour.
Right.
It's all talking head and conversation. It's all opinion based stuff.
Well, that's all all cable news is like that. I mean, you got from Hannity to Maddow to whoever, it's going to be them just sitting there going, well, I think this and that. It's not, it's opinion news. It's not
Right. And not to mention,
news
like
news.
with Roku now and all the like people who have like podcasts, like and internet shows like us, like they're putting full on channels together on these like networks, and they're creating their own little networks, and they're creating their own little show, and people are watching them.
Yeah.
More right than left. I think the left is still stuck on MSNBC and CNN, but for the people that Fox News is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Revolutionary
Good.
enough,
Oh,
not going far. No, like if Fox News isn't going as crazy enough as they need to, because they have to maintain some degree of standards. Like, okay, the stolen election crap. Fox News dropped that stuff because legally they would be fucked, and they had to pay,
well, they were
right?
already sued for hundreds
Right.
of millions of
So
dollars for
that's what
whatever
I'm
the fuck.
saying. Like, if you couldn't go there to get that news that you wanted to consume, you were suddenly going to Johnny's crazy right wing, Roku show, and there he is
What's the
sitting in
difference?
but you're getting that people are no longer want to hear what's real. They want to hear what they want to hear. So they're going to this whole new this whole new area where and there's plenty of people there feeding them this information on their regular televisions, so it's even
Well,
more on the
but I think
right
that's
that's
two different.
happening than the left.
But I think that's two different categories. Because if you're looking for news, you're looking for one of two things. You're either looking for news or you're looking for what you want to hear. And I get that some people mix those up sometimes. But if you're looking for news, it's a different thing from just what you want to hear. Like, it doesn't always match what you want to, what you want it to be. So that's the difference. People have to be able to look at whoever is giving them their information and say, well, is this news or is this opinion that I just want to hear and I agree with or whatever?
Mhm.
So that's the difference. You have to be able to weed out what's news and what's opinion and not totally
ain't,
relevant.
ain't a lot of that news anymore. Last story, Keith Lee. Are you familiar with
Spelled his
Keith Lee?
name weird.
Is that right? Yeah, I think it's EITH. I knew I wasn't going to get that right. I had to put Keith Lee in 4 different places. I'm like, there's no way all of this is going to be correct. There's going to be
I would
one
have
wrong one.
I wouldn't have minded if they were all wrong, but to have one right and one wrong,
Yeah.
remember,
I'm not even entirely sure if that's right, to be
I think
honest.
that's right.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Well, you never
And
know these
Keith's in the
days.
room,
People are like, I'm going to spell Keith, KI7ETHE.
I wouldn't. We spell it like KEETH. That would be
That'd be amazing. He really should,
great,
because his last
right?
name is Lee. So he really should go with the KEETHLEE. That would be that's pretty fire, actually.
Right?
That's a good idea. Anyway.
Keith Lee, you could have that. I don't even know who Keith Lee is.
Okay. So Keith Lee, I forget. I don't know if he was a former athlete or a runner or maybe a football player. I forget what he was. Wonderful Cinderella story, right? He's like, I think he was a runner. I don't know what he failed in some career or got hurt or whatever. And then he just started doing food reviews in his car. And
Cool.
he's one of these TikTokers that took off during the pandemic. And now he has a cajillion followers. He's got such a unique voice to him. You probably, if I show you who he is, you're probably like, oh yeah, you know what? I've seen that guy. Let me see how many fucking people. 16.8 million people on TikTok.
Pretty good.
Yeah, here he is. I don't know if you've seen him.
No.
And that's sort of his editing style. See how he cuts in close and not, and then in and out. Like he loves to do that stuff.
Right.
And he's got this like.
Who actually did reach out and was worried about me. I'm all right. Only reason I'm making this video is because I just saw it.
He got this like monotone voice, and it's like, he's one of these guys that's like his appeal is he wasn't the traditional internet personality. He wasn't like, hey everybody, welcome to the food review, and we're gonna give it 2 booms and like those fucking Costco jerk offs,
2 booms.
Yeah, it's got 4 booms. He just eats the food and goes, oh, this is really delicious, or oh, it's not that great, and he's honest about it.
We did that for a while. What the hell happened to that? We were doing food stuff.
We got too lazy. It's too much. Let me tell you something. It's too much work.
We are working too hard. There's bullshit on the internet that gets like 1 billion views that it's like 15 seconds and people don't, but we're sitting here for 2 hours putting everything into this and getting like a fraction.
Yeah.
Grateful for every view. Don't get me wrong.
But it is so like the video that we got 1 million views on, it was all just timing, and it was such a like I knew it was going to get 1 million. I knew it was going to do. I didn't know if it was going to get 1 million views, but I knew it was going to go viral. And then when it did, it was satisfying because it was like, oh, we finally got our first 1 million view video. But at the same time, I was kind of like, yeah, like we did the thing that everybody can do. It didn't seem special, you know, like
That's special.
yeah, but it's like I knew it was gonna. It was I don't
What's
know.
the next? We got to get a video that has 10 million views. Is that what you're saying?
Oh shit! No, I never thought of that. Now you really fuck.
Yeah, that's our next milestone to cross.
Now you fucked me up. Now we're gonna be sitting there going, how are we gonna get a 10 million view video? How are we gonna do that? So Keith Lee, he seems like a fucking sweetheart of a guy, and it's just taken off and it's blown up everywhere, right? So it's gotten to the point now with his career where he can't even go in and get the food anymore because people get so crazy, and then they're like, oh, they want to remake it and all that. So he has to send family members who he cannot put on camera just to go in and get the food. And like, I saw this one woman not that long ago, and she was like, I think Keith Lee's wife or sister or whatever just came in. I'm not 100% sure, but it felt like a Keith Lee order.
There's someone in the car out there, though. I don't know.
No, she was like, it felt like a Keith Lee order. And I'm like, the fuck is a Keith Lee order? Like, the guy just orders a bunch of shit. Like, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, he orders a specific thing every time.
Oh my God. There are people, same thing with the Barstool guy, Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
The pizza place near me, guy's like, I'm just waiting for Dave Portnoy to come in. He's like, we're prepared. He's like, we got pictures up. People know to call me. And I'm just like looking at him and I go, your pizza, you don't want him here. Your pizza's not that good. Like, this ain't going to go well for you. And sure enough, he came in and it was the most boring review ever because it's like subpar pizza. And he caught it at a time where Portnoy didn't want to give shitty scores to anybody to fucking sink their business.
Right.
So his like lowest score was like a 7 or whatever, and everybody's like, "Well, that's okay, you know, that's pretty good." You know, it's like it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. Anyway, long story short, Keith Lee. So he's become huge. So he's doing a review of this sushi place, okay, and he's eating the food and like he's eating with chopstick, and so he picks up these chopsticks and he's holding up the food to the camera so you guys can people can see it. Picks up it was like a tuna over rice, just like a regular, you know, piece of sushi. And somebody, I don't know who, was watching this video so intently because I actually saw this video and didn't think anything of. I stopped watching his videos because it's boring to me now. Food reviews, unless it's somewhere that I know I'm going. I don't need to know what the sushi place in North Carolina, how good I'm never going to be there, so I don't give a shit, you know?
Right.
So I don't know where this particular sushi place was, but it's a chain of stores. And the entire sushi chain is now closed because of his review. And I don't even think he gave a bad review. And I know he didn't notice this because he holds up the sushi and he eats the sushi and he gives it his regular rating. But somebody was watching it so closely and they noticed hanging out of the bottom of the sushi was a little tiny worm that was just like a little, I don't know, it was a maggot or a worm or what it was sticking out of the bottom of the fish. And this review went insanely viral. And it was so much to the point. I guess it's just built and built and built. That was like 2 weeks ago. Right? He's fine. Yeah, he's fine. I don't even know if he's commented on it too much, but it is built to the point so much where the place just closed. Like they just closed the sushi. The whole entire chain is closed. Gone.
How many restaurants did they have? Do you know?
That's a great question. That is a great question.
And he ate it. He ate the thing.
He ate it. Yes, shoved it right in his mouth. It was Fob Sushi Bar in Seattle. Let me see how many.
Oh, man.
It started November 10th. And then, like, again, it wasn't even him. He didn't even notice it. Somebody was watching his video so closely that they noticed this little tiny worm just, just.
Yes, Lindarella. I think you're right. We should check with Robert Kennedy Jr. See if he ate there. But that's what happens. You don't know. But what the holy cow? That is awful.
It's
So
just
someone
terrible.
pointed it out to him. Did he make a video about someone pointing it out, or was it just that comment that went viral?
It started as a comment, and then everybody started clipping it, and then everybody started making their own videos about, look what I found in the Keith Lee video, and they're zooming in on it. So and I believe he took his down. So, but even that doesn't stop anything. It doesn't stop these things. You know,
that is gross.
Yeah, and it's it's done. Like, this guy, you can tell, like, even now he's even softened up. Like, he'll tell you if he doesn't like something. But he softened his approach because he doesn't want, like, most of these people, they don't want to put these people out of business. These are hardworking, sometimes families and just regular average people that are just trying to make it. They're small business owners, you know.
I'm sure most of the reviews are like, oh, this was good. This wasn't as good. But, you know, I'm sure it's not, this place is shit. Never go here.
Right.
I'm sure there were very respectful reviews, no matter what, how the food was. You know, that's the way it should be. Like,
yeah,
you know, if you're into this food, this is the way they do it. I'll taste it. It was okay. They're not going to say this is dog shit, you know. So,
but one little tiny, one thing could sink an entire. I don't know how many locations, but they have several locations. So,
and they're all gone.
They're all gone. They're all well. The same thing happened on Long Island. I don't know if you remember that story. It was not that long ago. Somebody got sick. There was like a Chinese restaurant, or Asian fusion, I should say. They had sushi and a couple of other things. Somebody got sick there, really bad. It made the news, and that was it. Reservations, visits, everything just dried right up.
Well, that's the thing with, especially fish, especially raw fish.
Yeah,
that's nothing to mess around with, man. That'll make you real sick,
really
fast.
sick. Yeah. But what's amazing is, McDonald's could have E. coli onions and fucking people dead, and they're just like, people are like, whatever.
That's a good point. If he did a review of McDonald's and he had the burger and a worm was coming out of the burger, would that shut down McDonald's?
Probably not, because there's an unfair bias in it, and I don't think this is racist, but there's an unfair bias built into this where it's like, that's fish and seafood. That's here. McDonald's is
Long John Silver's.
But even that, if it's a fast food joint, it's still shit. You're expecting shit. You're paying for
you're not
shit.
expecting worms in your food.
Right. But it's the same thing of, like, if you eat McDonald's and you have terrible diarrhea the next day, or even if you're vomiting or whatever, you're like, fucking McDonald's. Whereas if you go to like a four-star restaurant and you got sick and whatever, you might call the next day and be like, maybe you guys should check your fucking oysters, because
the expectations are higher. Yeah, I get that. But I feel like there's been videos of like gross shit in fast food stuff, and that, I don't know if that's affected anything.
No, not a thing. If you look, McDonald's still here, still growing, still having huge quarters and years and profits, and it's all that stuff. Yeah, see, Neil's got Keith down. He's a really good person who's helped a lot of small businesses. Like, he's put a lot of people on the map. Like, I've seen ones where he's done like food trucks, and then you go and you read that within 6 months of him being like, this food truck is amazing, they have 3 physical locations because it has just blown them up so huge.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I don't understand it anymore, because it's like, when was the last time you were so moved by a food review, especially somebody eating in their car? Like, I don't know if I'm just numb to it now, but
not a review, but we tried a new place in the neighborhood because I saw it on Instagram. It was just a local place.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Sure, yeah.
It wasn't a review. I don't really watch food reviews. I mainly because I can't stand to watch people eat. But
a lot of chewing noises in those food reviews.
I can't do that. That's not for me.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
So I can't really do that. But outside of that, like if there's a close restaurant, it's also proximity. It has to be kind of close to me.
But that's different, though. It's like, because if you see something interesting, right, it has to be close to you. But if you see something interesting, that's one thing. I'm talking about these people that are like, I'm gonna eat this cheeseburger and rate it, 4 bozouzas out of 5, and it's just like, fuck up. I can't. And the people who do the people who do pizza now drives me crazy. Like, let me see if there's a flop, and the other. It's like, shut the fuck. You're all stealing. Right. You're all just stealing that guy's fucking thing. Nobody ever get flop. Flop didn't ever exist before that guy said it once.
Stupid. Just eat. It's not wine. Just eat the pizza. If it's bad, it's bad.
Right.
If it's good, it's good. Shut up. I mean, what are we doing?
Like, even him, I get that's your shtick, but how? And I believe, listen, in the beginning, I used to look at all the reviews. When a new review came out, I would be like, I wonder if this place is good.
Yeah, if there's a place around and I'm thinking about going to it, I'll check Yelp or whatever. I'll check the reviews, see if people like it.
Yeah.
That's normal. I don't mind that, but I'm not looking up videos of people eating there.
Yeah, right. But pizza, like, think about it on Long Island. You and I are what, an hour away from each other, 45 minutes away from each other. If I was like, Frank, I heard this is an amazing pizza place,
let me know how it is.
Yeah, you'd be like, I don't know.
Go there. Let me know.
Like, you want me to drive 40 minutes for pizza? I don't think so.
Send me a text. Don't even call me. Send me a text. Let me know how it is.
Yeah, we're not, and that's why this is the new thing now. Bagels, like, oh my god, the bagel. No, it's fucking New York, and New York.
That's the difference. We're in New York, but if you're in the middle of the middle of the country, and you happen to find a really good bagel place, that might be something to shout about.
Sure, I agree with you. But here, it's like, I'm not driving an hour and 10 minutes for a fucking bagel. I can get just as great of a bagel right here.
Any place that isn't like a chain. When I mean chain, I mean like Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks.
Right.
You're gonna get a good bagel in a place that makes them fresh there.
Exactly.
For the most part, in New York.
What a question! Have you ever gotten sick from food on a cruise ship? Frankie C. Frankie C has returned to us, and I have so many questions, my friend. I have so many questions. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to start.
Okay, I'll just start talking. So Aaron and I went on a cruise, a 14-day cruise, what's known as a repositioning cruise. It was we flew into Rome, and then we got on a boat just outside of Rome, and then it took us to a few stops in Spain, a stop in Portugal, and then it crossed the Atlantic Ocean back to the United States. So 14 days on the boat, and we had an amazing time. Everything was wonderful. The locations, the ports that we stopped at were beautiful. Everything was, and yeah, I was away for the election. Thank God.
Wait, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt because I've been dying to hear about your whole thing. I don't know if this is the real Cuddles in the chat. I'm not entirely sure. This is
well, what's the picture? Is that a?
That is a yeah, that might be. Might be.
Right. Hey, Cuddles.
All right. I don't know if that's the real Cuddles or not. I'm not entirely sure. And
come on. Tell her to get on the show.
Wait, hold on here. Bird is right. Let me say I'll be like this until the next comment.
It's not me either.
I think that might be her, but I don't know. Okay, that's accurate. She's the only one who calls me babe. That's pretty. There you go. See, Paul. See, she's alive. She's alive and well. I don't know why she's looking for J-Sabs here. Maybe J-Sabs isn't answering her text messages, but
I call you babe sometimes.
I gotta say, you have every right to be mad at Cuddles. You come back. Yeah, you return after 2 weeks gone, and all of a sudden she comes. She spoils. No. She's stealing your thunder in the live chat.
Not at all. Cuddles has every right to come on.
Oh, okay. All right. I'd be upset if I were you.
Well, it's because you're a jerk.
We were all talking about you. Now we're all just worried if this is the real Cuddles or not.
Well, we need to find out.
Okay.
That's an important question.
No, it's hard. This is the only way, if that was babe or asshole would have been the confirmation that's, that was her. So.
All right. Well, good to know that Cuddles is around.
Yes, she's here.
Could probably be.
Maybe she wants to hear about your trip. Okay, so you went on a
That could be.
repositioning cruise. Now, how
Yeah.
many days in Spain and Portugal? I wonder what Spain's kicking over to be like, hey, come over to us for a couple days. You know, we need to.
Yeah, it was great. There were 5 stops. 4 of them were in Spain, and 1 was in Portugal. And then we came. It was everything was beautiful. It was the history. There were like ancient Roman ruins,
Mm-hmm.
that they dug up underneath, these cities, Barcelona and all these other places, and it was crazy. Just the history alone. I mean, we live in America, and there's history, but it's just a different history in a different continent. It's just a completely different story.
Yeah.
So it's all new stuff to us, and it was cool to see. It was, we visited this city where they discovered a Roman theater under the city, so they had to dig it up, and it was just a huge picture an amphitheater.
Wow.
With the stairs going up, and the stage. It was a Roman theater where they put on plays, and it was just buried because of war and just time and people building over it and stuff. And they didn't know anything was there until like the 90s. They discovered it.
Oh wow,
1990s.
really?
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
it
even
was
know we were
crazy.
still looking for shit in the 90s. I thought
Still
we'd given
finding
up by
shit.
then.
Like major shit, like cities. We're still
That's-
finding cities.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it was really cool. So we got a lot of history in there. We got a lot of pictures, a lot of cool stuff. The ship itself was awesome. We did a lot of cool activities and the excursions and things. This is one of the activities I did behind me here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll bring it closer. Let's see.
Oh, you did one of those. They blow the fan under you and keep you up.
Right. Yeah. The iFly thing. It's like skydiving, but you're in like a tube.
Oh, that is cool. Why is that guy cupping your balls though?
Because they were falling out of the suit.
Got it. Got it.
He's a safety guy. He had to like make sure he didn't fly off and fly away into because the tube goes up like 30 feet.
I mean,
And
there's
people
not
like
a net up
professional
there.
people that
Just
go in. What?
there's not a net up there just to make sure nobody goes flying out of the tube and off
No,
the side of it.
you're not gonna. No, it stops. There's a
Oh, okay.
cap or whatever, the roof. But yeah. So people who have been in that thing, they logged I don't know how many hours in that thing. They go in there and they're doing backflips and they're going up and down. I was a beginner. This is my first time in this thing, so all I did was this. And they hold you, then they let you go for a second, and you're like spinning around. And it's supposed to be like skydiving simulation. So like the wind, you can't hear anything. So he's giving you hand signals on what to do, like stretch your legs and go this way, and it's like all. So you can't hear a thing. You got goggles on, helmet, and this suit. And it only tells you just put your hands like this, look forward, and stretch your legs out, and that's all you did. And you were floating around and flying. A lot of fun. It was really cool.
Did it feel like you were flying or skydiving? Like, did it feel weightless?
If you feel like you're being held up by wind, by the fan. There's a fan underneath you, and you're just floating on the air. So it was really cool.
You ever feel like you're gonna
no, it's a steady thing. If while I was doing this, if you did like this, then you'd drop. But if you spread out more, you'd fly up. It was a weird. They go through like a video with you on what could happen and how to prevent. How to float and all this stuff. Like I said, there were people there that have done it a million times. They have their own like suits and their own helmets and things, and they walk in and you're just supposed to do this and then just fall forward like you're falling out of a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And you fall forward, and all of a sudden you're floating. You're on the wind. You're on the. And then these people were doing like backflips and flying up and down the tube, and that was crazy. It was a lot of fun though. On the last a few cruises ago, Erin did it, and this was my turn. I did it on this one.
Cool.
So it was a lot of fun. The one thing we didn't do that I wanted to do, but we didn't, but we'll do it another time, was it's called a flow rider. It's like a surfing.
The
thing.
water, right? Yeah, the water spinning and you like surf on it. Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to try it, but it was never the right time because sometimes there were some days where it was cold It was November, so it wasn't. There were days where it was like in the 70s. It was nice pool weather, but it just didn't match. I was like, so we didn't really. I didn't really get a chance to do that, but next time.
Okay.
But a lot of fun.
How many days you were? How many days in port? How many days on the water?
So it was 5 stops, 5 ports that we stopped at. So was that 9 days at sea? So you start in Rome, then we're at a day, then it's a day at sea, port, day at sea, port, maybe another port, then a day, and then the last like 6 or 7 days was all sea days because we're crossing the Atlantic.
So 6 days. Well, look at this. Hold on. Cuddles is actually. I couldn't get Cuddles on the show for the last 5 months. Now all of a sudden you come back and she's here.
It took a very special occasion.
I guess so.
It did. I've been busy.
Yeah. You want to ask about
life, folks?
You want to ask about their swinging? Is that what?
I
that's
did.
what we're
I
all-
was going to ask. I was going to ask if they met any swinging couples.
Oh, they had. You had, whether you know it or not. You've met. You
probably did. Probably did. Here, you want to hear the funniest? The first day on the thing. All right, so when you get on you've been on cruises. Maybe not everybody knows this, but when you get on a cruise, before you get on, you if you have big luggage that you can't carry on, you check it, and then when you get to your room, the luggage is waiting outside for you in the hallway, and you just bring it in. So we get on the ship and we're walking to our room, and we happen to pass by these 3 pieces of luggage that are outside someone's room, and one of them was vibrating.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Erin took video. We have video of it.
Members area?
Wait, do you know who
Members
was in
area.
that? Wait, do you know who was in that room? Like,
We didn't see who was in the room.
Oh, I would have been scoping out that
I was just going to
room.
say, Cuddles would have stayed down the hall until she identified who those people were, so she could follow them the rest of the time.
It was, it was in one, like there's these hallways with rooms, and then there's like these openings where it's not a hallway, it like opens up into an area, and that's where the luggage was. So it wasn't really next to a specific room. It was just there, and there were 3 pieces of luggage, and one of them was like, what? Everybody was, there were like 10 of us looking at this thing going, everybody hear this?
Oh, man.
For real? It was drawn like a crowd?
It was drawn, it drew a little crowd.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that was day 1. So God knows what, hope the batteries didn't die on them for the rest of the cruise.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So, but it was,
you would have known if they were in the gift shop going, you guys have the D batteries? I need 7 D batteries.
Yeah, gonna need a few extra. Hopefully it's a wall charger. Plugs right in.
This is what I thought you were going to say, that they had an upside down pineapple on their luggage. That's what I
was
thought
waiting
you were
for the
gonna say.
pineapples.
Didn't see any of that. Didn't see any of that. There were people that put stuff on their doors, like you do. People put like magnets, things to like spot their door, like I guess for kids or whatever, they can know which, without, because all the doors look the same, all the hallways.
I was just going to say, if we go on a cruise, I'm insisting on that because everything looks exactly the same. How the hell are you going to find your?
They don't have numbers.
They have numbers, but like, again, they look after a day. Like, all right, it's down here. I know where we are. Anybody who little kids might not be able to. Oh, if they look for something on their door, it's easier. Because there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, but there weren't a lot of kids. This was an older crowd. This was, I'd say, the majority of the cruise. I'd say 80% of it were senior citizens.
Maybe who the fuck 75. Has 2 weeks?
Exactly. At the beginning of the school year, basically, or the first quarter of the school year.
Right.
Yeah. So 2 weeks. So again, it was an older crowd, but a lot of fun. Erin and I, we went to bed at like 10, 11 o'clock. The ship was still going. Everybody was partying every night. It was people were up till 2, 3 in the morning. It was crazy.
You were in bed. What, you didn't party? You didn't go out and have
we partied, yeah, but there were nights where we were like, we gotta go. We were tired, and then everybody was still up. We were, the older folk were putting us to shame. They were partying late, and we were like, we're going to bed. But it was a party ship. It was a lot of fun. We met a great bunch of people. We go to dinner every night. We met a lot of cool people.
Vacation friends. Vacation friends? You made vacation friends?
No, but if there were going to be vacation friends, this would have been the couple that they were cool. This would have been a vacation. We didn't like exchange contact information or anything, but
Like normal
if
people.
we were going to do that, it would have been this couple.
Did you say at the end, like, all right, this has been great. We'll see.
Yeah.
See you. Hope
Like,
you have
all
a great
right.
life.
Yeah. We were like, great to meet you. You guys take it easy. We just-
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did it.
but
We
it was
did the
nice.
thing. We're not going to talk anymore.
It was
No.
nice. They were a wonderful couple from the UK. And we were talking to them about what the hell was going on in over in America. It was interesting to get a perspective of other people from other country looking into our country.
Oh, I would love to know. All right. Well, first of all, hold on. Christella says the old folks will be swinging like a chandelier. Did you know? Did you get a swingy vibe from any of the old people, or?
No, to be honest, I would have. You know, it would have. I feel like it would have stuck. We didn't get that feeling at all. No one. It wasn't like that, really. Like
Okay.
I would tell you, but it wasn't that kind of vibe. I didn't get that at all.
Frank has something for the cuck chair questions. We'll post that on all our social accounts tomorrow, so
Yeah.
everybody can
Oh,
look
okay.
for that tomorrow.
Look for that. The answer to your cuck chair questions tomorrow, Anthony.
Yes.
Will post.
Now, Paul had an interesting tidbit about, because you said you were finding ancient thing. What was it?
Yeah.
The theater?
It was basically a Roman theater
Right.
underneath the city that was like they dug it up.
Did you see the forum? There was a forum. This is true. Paul said J-Sab's ancestors were stoned in the forum for stealing Caesar's salad. So did you happen to see that while you were there? Because that's a real thing. That's a fact.
I did see that. It was a wonderful monument to the J-Sab's family.
I'm not sure, but I believe it was the first stolen salad altogether when her ancestors stole the Caesar salad.
It was a beautiful monument to the Sabs family.
That's fucking hilarious, Paul.
Yeah, no, it was a great time. We enjoyed it. I'm telling you, whenever we went on a cruise, it was like, oh, we did a 7-day, and we were like, this was great. But 7 days that's a good number. Then we did the 9-day, and we're like, that's enough. We're ready to go home, Then we did 14-day. We're like, I want to keep fucking going.
And you didn't feel like, oh, enough already? Yeah, nothing? You didn't feel like, oh, I got to get out of here?
No. It was a great time. We enjoyed it so much. Everybody was nice, friendly.
What'd you do?
Something to do.
How many? Okay, let me ask. I want to hear what you did, but the first proper question is how.
That was the food.
No, not for Frank. How many trivia games did you compete in?
Wow.
In
Lots
2
of
weeks?
trivia.
How many?
Lots of trivia. I don't know. It was like
10, 20.
I would say. Well, they
14 days.
Yeah, they had a progressive trivia, which they kept every time you came back. They added, so that alone was 7 rounds.
Oh, where it's a continuing thing. They keep track of you keep yesterday's score. You keep yesterday's score.
Right.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So that's 7.
So we came in out of 50 teams. Some teams, the max amount of players was 6. It was just me and Aaron on our team. We came in 8th out of 50 teams.
Damn.
Jesus.
For the progressive. Yeah. So that was fun. We did that. Then we did all the, as many other trivia. It was like 2 a day, maybe. They only take like 15, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour at the most.
So you were doing 2 a day in addition to the 7-day thing that you did?
Yeah, but that was once. Honestly, they only took like a half hour at most. And that's, throughout the whole day, a half hour for a trivia thing.
Oh, that's what, at 35 games, if I'm not mistaken?
Give or take.
But what else is there to do?
No,
what do you do with all your time?
35, yeah. Yeah, no, it was that. It was, going to food. We did a specialty restaurant. We did, the pool stuff, and it was a lot to do. A lot of activities. They kept you busy.
You got to lay by the pool, like quiet,
There was nice pools. There was the couple of outdoor pools, which was, the weather was crazy. But then they have the indoor pool, which was great. It was like a big solarium.
Babe,
Could you imagine just laying?
God.
I'm telling you guys, next time you're coming on a cruise with us.
You're coming with.
Coming with.
Yeah. You know who also's coming with? Those two little fuckers upstairs, okay?
No, they can't handle
Are-
14-day cruise. It's just you two guys.
We are going away, and I get very antsy after
Bring the
being away
kids.
from home for like 4 days.
Oh,
And
you
we're
got
going to be gone for 2 weeks.
I'm telling you, it was a great time. We missed this. We missed our dog. We missed our family and everybody.
Did you?
But we were like, what that?
Did you? Because I
Yeah.
don't think I would have missed any of those those things you just named.
A little bit. But no, it was, a lot of fun. But when at the end of it, we were like, we don't want to leave. We were like, we just want to, because we don't want to go, like, let's just stay on the ship. Let's just, how long will it take for them to find us if we just stay on the ship?
Did you ask, like, can we stay on till you reposition back in 6 months or whatever?
Yeah, right. Well, they had it, they repositioned over here, and then the next day, another cruise, they were taking more passengers. This thing, it goes all the time. So
Yeah.
when we got back, it was the same day. Like, we got off in the morning, we got off the ship, and then they loaded it back up with passengers for the afternoon, and they went on like a 7-day thing.
That's amazing.
So
what was
I
it
think
doing?
it's
New
chill.
York to the Caribbean that's new route?
Yeah. It's over here. It's over here now.
It's over here.
But
All
it
right.
was a lot of fun. Great time.
Thanks to Lindarella for gifting an on-air membership. So if you haven't become a member, do join immediately, because it might be on the house. It might be on Lindarella.
Right.
You can become a member for nothing, but it's only $2.99. So become a member and stay being a member. Frank, everybody wants to know the same question besides did you swing? Which I don't think you would admit to us anyway, is your reaction to I mean, you just alluded to it too about what people. Well, give me the people first. What was the conversation like? Because day 2 or 3 that you're on the boat is election day.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we got on the boat. Yeah. So we got on the boat on Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday. So like day
Tuesday,
3,
so
I
day
guess.
3. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it was because we found out basically in the middle of the night, because it was like election day. We were 6 hours ahead.
It was almost morning when you found out.
Almost morning. So it was like 3, 4 in the morning when everything was kind of wrapping up and pointing toward. It wasn't official, but everything was kind of pointing towards Trump.
Well, what are we judging by? Normal people or CNN? Because CNN was 6 hours behind everybody else.
No, well, whatever it was. I was going by the Anthony on air, the broadcast that I was following along with from the ship. Aaron and I, we were both election night. We were in the chat for the show. Honestly, I don't want to bring the show down or anything, but disappointed, very disappointed in the outcome. Of course, everybody knows that I dislike Trump very much and everything he does and stands for and is.
Well, go back to what were people talking about it? Were they buzzing?
Yeah.
Was this Americans or was it Europeans on the boat primarily? What was?
It was a mishmash. It was maybe 50% of the ship was Americans, and then there were people from all over the world, different countries. A lot of different European countries were on the ship.
Was there anybody that was like, I don't know where the fuck that is? Where's that country from? Did you get any of that?
Not really. It was all. I think they said they gave us the like at the end of the cruise. They tell you how many different countries were on the ship, and it was like 70.
Wow.
Countries.
Okay. That's pretty good.
It was a big. There were like 4,000 something people, passengers, 1,000 something crew. Altogether, it was like 70 something different countries. But to be honest, there wasn't buzz about the election. There was a little chatter here and there, but after like Wednesday morning, nobody was talking about it really. We talked about it at dinner a little bit with the people sitting next to us a little bit. We talked about it a little with people a tiny bit like that following day with we did like a walking tour and we happened, it came up and we were talking about that a little bit, but after that really there was no talk about it for the most part
That's good.
on the ship. Yeah, there was
Were
nothing
you
really.
were you able to put it out of your mind and enjoy the rest of the cruise, or was it?
It was, well, yeah. I mean, I was able to enjoy the cruise, of course. It was definitely a huge blow to this. You know, it was like, come on, man, what are we doing? It was. I could spend another hour talking about where we went wrong and how we went wrong and what's wrong with this whole thing. I'm not going to do that. I'll just say we, you know, it you know, it affected us. It was horrible to hear. We were disappointed, upset about the whole thing, like, you know, very disappointed, and just, but we said we're going to be strong, and it'll be all right. You know, we'll be all right. You know, we'll get through it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough 4 years. It's not going to be easy.
I think it'll be fine.
But it's going to be hard. It's going to be a difficult 4 years.
No, I'm gonna be just fine.
Yeah, I'm going to be just fine. As far as you're concerned, no, it's not going to be. I said it's going to be okay. For a lot of people, I don't know. You know, to be honest, I don't know how true that is. I mean, they say from day one.
Not for the illegal immigrants. It doesn't sound like it's going to be that
exactly.
great.
That's what I'm saying. They said from day one he's going to start mass deportation. That's going to be the most disgusting thing we're going to see on our streets.
Yeah.
You know,
before I want to let you say everything you want to say. I just want to go in order.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. It's going to be if we get down that hole, I've never, you know, it's going to be a mess.
But I do want to bring up this point that Mercury says. I have had this discussion with people on a text level, in Discord, maybe not in Discord so much as the chat. No, everybody is convinced that you and RNC purposely chose this cruise.
No.
Based off of, and I've told them, no, I'm pretty sure they booked this like 2 years ago. Nobody believes me. They don't believe you. They are not buying it.
I'll set the record straight. We booked this. The selling point of this cruise was 2 weeks, and we only have to fly one direction. We only have to fly there, and then the ship took us back. We were like, that's awesome. We don't have to spend a day in an airport. We get off the ship and we're home. Those are the two big things. Plus, not to mention, we're going to Spain, we're going to Portugal, we'll be in Italy for a little bit. And not to mention it's a cruise. So we were sold with that. And then we were like, oh shit. After we decided we wanted to do the cruise, we went, oh shit, you know, that's election day falls. We'll be away for election day. Oh shit. So that's when we had to look up how to vote early and how to do this and how to do that. And it was not, the election did not come into play when we were deciding whether or not to do this cruise.
Nobody believes.
I 100% promise you. I know everybody.
Can I tell you something? I believe you. And I've been trying to carry your flag on this, and people are like, "Come on, Ed."
What's the difference? Because I'm just going to come. You know, why? What would being over, you know, in another country or being here? What would that do?
I don't know. I'm just
whether I'm here and he wins or I'm there and he wins.
I'm just telling you what the people are saying to me, and and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure they did it 2 years ago, and they're like, no. Come on, Ed. I'm not, and I'm like, okay, I don't.
Am I happy that I was away while this was going on? Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty weird here. It was a little weird here.
Yeah, because we were saying on the ship, Aaron and I were talking to each other about it, and we're like, it would. We're glad we're here, because here we can do as much relaxing and taking care of ourselves as we have to.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people who aren't on vacation, aren't away, and aren't, you know, they have to go to work. They have to carry on with their life. A lot of people are very upset about this, and it's a huge impact, and it's a devastating blow that everybody has to deal with. We are lucky enough to be on a vacation where we can relax and not have to think about it until we get back. You know, we thought about, you know, we talked about it a lot, not a lot, but we talked about it a bunch of times while we were away. But we're trying to stay positive. We were there on vacation, and we were like, we'll worry about it when we get home. We'll talk, you know, and it's one of those things where he's gonna be the president, and there's nothing we can do about that. It's what a lot of the frustration comes out of He's getting away with everything. That's the frustrating part. He broke a gajillion laws, and he's getting away with it all.
What
They're
laws did he break?
suspending. What?
What laws did he break?
What laws did he break? I don't know. He's 34 fucking felony accounts.
Oh, you're talking about that. I'm sorry. I thought it was a new thing. I'm sorry.
No. So what I'm saying is the attorney, what's it called? The judge is suspending his sentencing until after his
Oh, it's all
presidency.
going away. Everything
Like,
is going
what the
away.
fuck, man? So what is this whole? I mean, how is this America when he's not held accountable?
Doesn't that make you feel like? Doesn't that lead legitimacy to the right's claims that this was all bullshit and a political witch hunt? Because that's what it says to me. That's what it's signaling to me, that as much as he maybe did these things, that they're not going to go this far now to put us into a constitutional crisis by putting the president of the United States behind bars. They just don't think
if it's a political witch hunt, if it was a political witch hunt, they would not stop until they got him. They would just not stop.
I think it's the opposite.
Created that problem.
I think if they knew that they were 100% right, they wouldn't stop until they were done and got him.
Well, then it's not a witch hunt.
I think if it's a witch hunt to keep him out of the office, they would give it up if he won. That's how I perceive it.
There's like 2 or 3 people. It's not. Everybody still wants justice done. It's not. It's not because what's the judge is like, well, suspend sentencing. It's not him that's brought the case forward. It's not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're putting everybody under the umbrella.
Jack Smith is the one who's like, well
you're putting everything under the umbrella of witch hunt, but there are all different players in play here. It's not like it's Biden's controlling it and oh my God, he's getting away with it because of his picks and his justice picks, who gave the president free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting away with it because he was just elected president, and that caused the problems with, legally, can we do this? And not to mention the fact that all this other distraction stuff with, important stuff, but distraction stuff with all his picks. Mm-hmm. Everybody's picking is a controversial pick for his cabinet. So it's like, well, what do we focus on first? How many scandals and controversies can we focus on here? He's picking a fucking, child or attorney general. Are you fucking kidding me? Everybody's fine with that. Everybody's fine with that.
I don't think everybody's fine with it. I think there's been quite a bit of back and forth, even from the Republicans. I said the other day, there shouldn't be. You have the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and the White House. There shouldn't be controversy. There shouldn't be. You have everybody going in your direction.
But
there shouldn't be. I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, well, when Trump is the guy, he's going to put his friends, the people who kiss his ass, if they're bad or not, that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
this person's a good person. No, because it's not based on whether or not this person is A, qualified, or B, a good person. It's whether or not they kissed his ass. That's who he's putting in these positions. That's the reason why McMahon is going to be in his cabinet, a fucking wrestling mogul. What the fuck is that?
She's not even the wrestling mogul. She's married to the wrestling mogul.
Married to a wrestling mogul. Okay. So she has plenty of political experience to do what she's going to do. Then you got Dr. fucking Oz. What do we, this is a reality show.
Did he give Dr. I missed that. Was that today? I didn't see that.
Was yesterday or the day before. He just make Dr. Oz the head of I forget what department, but like medical, I can't remember all these fucking departments. But then you got
everybody. Can I say
Robert
something?
F. Kennedy.
Can I say something?
Please.
Everybody puts their friends in these positions.
Fine, but he's picking fucking morons or people who are grossly underqualified or criminals, actual fucking criminals who are under investigation. And the reason Jon Stewart was on the other night, he was on the Daily Show, and he put it perfectly. He said the Republicans are playing chess and the Democrats are, they're playing some other game that nobody's, the Republicans are taking advantage of every loophole. Matt Gaetz is under investigation. He can't be made attorney general. Oh, now he just resigned, so now he can be made, so he's an ordinary citizen, so he's not under congressional. So they're playing all these loopholes to get around all these things when the Democrats are trying to go by the book. Oh, we got to get them by the book. We can't take the loopholes because then it's not legal and this and that. And so the Democrats are trying to get people to, the Democrats are trying to have justice be done. Honestly, the Republicans are going through these loopholes to muddy up the waters so that the honest routes are impossible.
Did you see the episode that we did on the Wednesday after the election?
No, I don't watch this show.
Okay. It was a good episode. I would suggest you go and watch it. We did a whole recap of the election and what happened and why we think what happened because I don't know how much of this you caught being away, but he won handily. And there's a couple of things to know. He made massive gains with African-American males, like massive.
He didn't win by the margin you think he will. Look at the final.
I know, because California started coming in and all that stuff. It's a blowout, dude. This is as close to
not a blowout. The popular vote was only 3 or 4 million.
But a Republican, I don't even know what was it? George W. after 9/11 was the last time a Republican won. So obviously he's going to win that one. I mean, the Republicans just don't win the popular vote, not since Reagan, and he's the first one to do it. I mean, listen,
because for some reason the country is like, "Ooh, a woman president. Oh no, we can't do." It's like,
it's not just that though.
A black woman president. Oh God, it's like, grow up.
It's not just that.
Black woman president. I think that's part of it.
I don't think so, because you should go back and watch that episode. I think Aaron would love it too. We went through all the demographics. He made major gains in amongst African American men. He made massive gains in the Latino community.
The question is why? What did he offer them? What did he say that those communities went, that's our guy?
Well, I'm telling you, go back and watch the episode. We talk about we went to the Democratic Party website and we looked at, who they specialize in and who they support, and working class white people were not on that list. Like you could see in the episode, we go to the site and it's like minorities, women, LGBTQ, like I say, it's wonderful goals to have. But while you were over here trying to be superhero to the minority communities, you have left behind not only white people, but it's a big part of your electorate that you left behind. You left behind working class people. I mean, this was an election where for the first time ever, the unions didn't endorse the Democratic nominee. I mean, that's got to tell you something. Here's what I think, and this is what I said then, and I believe this to be true now. The Democrats lost touch with who they had been representing for all these years, which again is a large part. That's why this whole "it's a racist" thing doesn't fly with me anymore, because if it can't be racist, all the minorities voted for him. They came out for him. We looked at the numbers in the Bronx and in Brooklyn. He made tremendous gains. She lost what Joe Biden had gained. It went in the exact opposite, in the reverse. These minority communities who the Democrats claim to be representing so much abandoned them because they felt like they were abandoned by the Democrats. And I can't blame them for feeling that way. When you look,
why would they feel that way? Go ahead. Why would they feel that way?
I don't think that they liked Kamala being put in. I think that argument
abandon them?
I think the argument of, here's what was the okay, here's I have it for you. This was the timeline that I laid out of we can't take this party seriously anymore. Bernie Sanders is up and coming. He winds up winning one of the primaries. It's a 2-horse race between Bernie and Hillary, right? And everybody is loving Bernie. He's on the come up in 16. And what happens? They completely fuck him over and they install her, right? And what happens? She goes out and loses. Now we get Trump for 4 years.
Install her. She won the primary. She was voted in.
No, he was gaining ground. No. He was gaining ground, and they fucked him from a standpoint of all the major donors, everything, the political machine that you need. I don't know about
donors, but she won the election for the primary.
But he was gaining. He went from gaining ground. He won. I think it was Michigan or Wisconsin. He won the second or third primary in all the major primaries, and it looked like she was slipping her grip again. But again, because she made the deal with Obama back in the day to back off him and that she would be the one, everybody kept the money behind her and stood behind her when she was losing momentum amongst the Democratic electorate. The people who voted in the primary were pulling away for him, and the machine didn't want it. They wanted her because they felt like he was an independent just running as a Democrat, which is also true. So he got fucked over. So again, consider the average person, and I put this into the bro vote, right? The young white males who listen to Joe Rogan and who watch UFC and all these people. So they were probably taken by Bernie. I was taken by Bernie. Bernie was, I
loved Bernie. I thought Bernie was great.
Right. You love Bernie. I was always worried about Bernie's foreign policy, his foreign experience. But outside of that, I liked what he was saying. Everybody liked what he was saying. Suddenly he gets pushed aside for Hillary. Then Hillary loses. Now we have 4 years of Trump. Now we have a pandemic coming in. And of course, we're going to want to change, horses midstream. So here comes Joe Biden, and he tells everybody, listen, this Trump thing's got to stop. I'm going to save everybody from the pandemic. We're going to stop the inflation that's coming and all that. I will be your transition president. I will be here for 4 years, and then we'll pass the mantle off to somebody else. And what happens 4 years later? He goes, oh, I'm running. What I said, what I promised everybody, I'm turning my back on. So that was number 2, right? And then all of a sudden it's Kamala Harris, who nobody could get past the fact that when she was in the primary running against Biden, she was dead last. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, we're supposed to accept her. She's supposed to be the vice
president.
That was number 3. I don't think people liked the fact that, I don't think they liked the way it went down. I don't think anybody was comfortable with the way it went down. In fact, we know this to be true because there frankly is no other reason to vote against that part. I mean this from people who traditionally vote Democratic, like the working class and union members. There's no reason to vote against that party than any other reason. Oh, here's the second reason. The economy, it turns out, people care more about the immediate future of themselves, and they're selfish, as they should be when voting. The economy was much more important than larger moral issues like women's reproductive rights.
Well,
let me just, last thing, and then I'm going to shut up and let you have it. Women who are affected by this, they turned out more for Trump. And they were the ones who said, I know this is a problem for us, but it's more important that bacon be less money than than we have the ability to get an abortion everywhere. And they went out and they voted that way. So it's not race or Nazism or any of that stuff that you can critique Trump on, because Lord knows he has plenty there to be critiqued upon. They blew it. They lost their base, and people were fed up. That's it.
Okay. Well, how many votes did he get against Biden? 70 something?
70. I think it was 74 to 80 or 80 million, 81 million.
How many votes did he get against Kamala Harris?
He didn't have as many votes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which means that the failure, I think, was on our own party not voting for him. They just didn't vote, or they voted for third party. They didn't
Also
show up.
part of it. Yes.
It was
Agreed.
it was like 15 million voters
Yeah.
shy of when we voted for Biden.
But he gained. So he did gain some of those people.
It was marginal. It was like it didn't move. His needle didn't move. The amount of, I don't know, maybe by a couple mil. I don't remember the exact numbers. When he lost against Biden, it was like 70 something. When he won against Kamala, it was like 70 something. So he really didn't move his needle that much. The problem was that for some reason, Democrats were like, sat this one out. A lot of people just didn't vote for some reason. Did you vote?
I voted. I voted hard. I voted hard. Oh, of course I voted.
All right.
Yeah.
There are people that didn't vote.
Well, you going to blame this on me?
No. If you
You're
didn't
like,
vote,
people like you didn't.
People like this asshole. No. The popular vote, he only won by a couple million, a few million, maybe 3 or 4 million.
He won by enough. Listen.
Yeah, by enough. He did. He won.
It's not even that. It's not just the popular vote. He won the House and he won this.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, this is somebody who is politically dead. In 22, all of his candidates in the midterms lost. Everybody he backed lost. So from being, we talked about it. We were on this show going, is his political capital, is he dead? Is he gone? Can he not move an election anymore? Is it over? And we went from that to nope, he is very much now, and the Democrats have it all completely wrong.
Well, it was when he won, it was so disappointing, depressing, and terrible, because to think that this guy, the country could vote for this guy, just disappointed me so deeply.
Well, let me tell you, I have
Republican, Democrat, fine. But this guy is the one that, with all the shit that we know about him, his first presidency, the last 4 years, before he was president, with all the shit we know about him, they were like, we're going to go with him, the country. I was so like, really? Just blown away. Like, this is the fucking guy that you want? I mean, what? How is that? How are you not looking at this guy going, anybody but this fucking guy? I mean, with all there's a fucking ton. I could sit here for hours and list the shit that he's done that are just horrible, and it doesn't matter for some reason. For some fucking reason, this guy gets a pass on everything, and it's infuriating that justice doesn't. It just blows by this guy. For some reason, he's just, he's going to be president again, another 4 years for him. It's like, what are you talking? When we were on the cruise, I talked about the people that we were talking to this one woman who was from Eastern European country. I can't remember which one exactly. Prague, around there, Czech Republic, something like that. And she was like, it was so weird to hear about what the election, because when things are going wrong, I wrote down what she said because I was like shocked by, like, when things are going wrong in America, that's like the barometer for the world. She was like, we look to America, and when things are going great, we know that things are going great, that the world is going to be okay. But when things are going wrong in America, we kind of take that as, holy shit, something's wrong. And she was very, this is one woman that we talked to from an Eastern European country. I don't know why I keep saying country, that was like, America is our barometer for the world. Like, when things are going good there, we have high hopes for the world. Things are not going good there, it's bad news. And
yes, half this country right now, and things are going great now.
Yeah, well, this is the outside. Then we talked to a couple from the UK, and they were like, what is going on in America? They were asking us, and I was like, I said, I'm sorry, I don't you know, I didn't want this to happen. And they were like, what, why him? And we were like, it was just, it was, I was embarrassed. I was like, this is going to be
Yeah.
our president.
Well, why him? I honestly, and Robin said it. Robin had a great thing. Give me a second here. You know, he mentioned that here you go. Bernie isn't liked by the big donors, and that is 100% true. That's why he lost the primary in 2016. He was building huge momentum. They don't like him because they cannot control him.
Yeah, but what? I get that money gets poured into these elections and everything, but
look at it this way. If you were for Bernie and now you got fucked, and then you were like, all right, we'll give Biden 4 years because we can't have what we've had in the last year with Trump, especially. And now he's being lied to, and now they're like, oh, just trust us. This is the next person to take you back. The third strike, you're like, well, why the fuck should I listen to you this time? I may not like Trump, or I may not want women's rights to be trampled upon, but I'm tired of I think here's what I'm saying. I think people.
I'm tired. I mean,
no, but here's what I'm saying. I think people were tired.
More important things.
I think people were tired of the machine in 2016, and that's why that's why everybody was feeling the burn, you included. I was certainly open to hearing what he had to say back then because we were tired of the same old shit.
I wanted Bernie to win. Then he lost the thing, and I had no choice but I couldn't vote for him for president. You know, that was the thing.
So look at it from that perspective. So now we're tired of the same old shit, and then it's Bernie, and then it's Trump, and then it's
I understand that,
Biden,
but I feel like the Trump bullshit train.
It wasn't.
I know.
I know.
Outweighs.
I hear you.
Any bullshit.
I hear
that comes from the Democratic Party or this democratic system or however machine or however you want to spin it. The Trump con job that he is all about is far worse than anything Bernie, Hillary, you know, that who's switching out candidate. He's taking away rights. He's going to be deporting people en masse.
Let me tell you something. And I hear what you're saying. I was here pre-election too. I was shitting on a lot of the things he was saying and doing. I was out there asking people, how could you support this guy now that this has happened? Now that he's said this, I thought it was weird that he blew the microphone fucking 2 weeks before the election. Okay,
he could have literally blew it. And it he wouldn't have lost the vote.
Does it change your perspective at all that more than half the country does not agree, that they see all these things and they go, that's as bad as that is, it's not as bad as what the Democrats are doing and have been doing? So
the admitted sexual molester, the rapist, all of it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
I think people look at it, and I'll tell you why.
Disgusting.
I'll tell you why this is
disgusting.
Okay, but I'll tell you why it's true. Because women who were the most affected demographic going into this election looked at their collective and went, that doesn't matter to me. This matters to me, and this is how I'm voting.
But how could you look? All right, you're doing this, and you go, all right, here's my choices. I have this guy, I have this woman. This guy, I'm not worried about this person next door, that person. I'm looking at my own, what I can live with, put my head down on the pillow at night and go, I made the right call here. I'm looking at this candidate, Kamala Harris, and I'm saying, how many negatives do we have against Kamala Harris here? All right, she was kind of she really do much as vice president.
She did nothing as vice president. Nothing.
Whatever. Okay. Then you have, and she's saying, oh, she's going to bring back these rights. You're going to have, not going to take away your rights. We're going to bring down all these things she's saying that are positive. And Donald Trump, who has been convicted of rape and who's got 34 felony counts, who's been impeached twice, who admits to sexually molesting women, who literally lies, cheats whenever he can to get ahead, and it doesn't matter whose neck he steps on, who frauds charities, who builds bullshit companies, who doctors his fucking tax returns, who does lies at every fucking, who cozies up to every dictator he can, who hires the worst people, puts them in cabinet positions. This is better than, oh, well, she was a vice president, but you know, that border, she didn't really do anything, so I got to go with the rapist. I'm going to vote the rapist in. What the fuck is that decision? How do you square that?
I think it's true. I think that's, and let me tell you something. I think a fair amount of people walked into that voting booth and went, I don't really love him, and I don't like voting for a rapist, if you want to go that far. But I don't believe her. I think that's what people were thinking. I think people
believe him.
I think that's what people are thinking. I'll tell you another thing.
Wait. Even if you say that, you say, I don't believe her. Like, everything you just said about Trump is what? So okay, let's say she lies. That's her. Everything she says is a lie. You stack that up against everything he said. No, even if it was, I'm not saying she is a liar. I'm not saying that at all.
By the way, can I just clarify? This is not necessarily how I feel. I'm just saying I'm interpreting how I think. Okay, but I think they not that
devil's advocating.
Right. Thank you. But I let me just clarify this other point. I don't think that they believe that she's lying. I think that they don't believe that she could do the things that she couldn't pull it off. Is what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Okay. Even if that were true, you take the worst Democratic candidate. Let's say Kamala Harris is not the worst. She was one of the better candidates that we could put up there. You take her and you go, all right, she's got a few. Maybe she's not going to be the best president. Maybe she's not going to get everything done that she could. If she gets one of the things done that she said she was going to do, great. But I can tell you what she's not going to do is deport people, millions of people, rip them out of their homes and send them God knows where.
Right.
She's not going to strip away rights. She's not going to demolish the education system. She's not going to dismantle all these government agencies. She's not going to hire a fucking wrestling managers. You know, it's literally it's a reality TV show, but it's like the worst kind of reality TV show you can imagine. I mean, that's what they want. That's what people.
Let's deal with this harsh reality. You keep saying deport illegals. Every time you run into your list, what did you say?
I said people.
Okay. Every time you run down your list, I notice you're putting that at number one, right?
It's a big fucking number one.
It's a big number one.
I'm not. I didn't put it at number one because it's more important than one issue or the other. I just put it because I can't say it all. You know.
Gotcha. But it's a big issue. It's a
huge issue. Right. That abortion. The economy, everything is a huge issue. I didn't list it at one because it's the most important. They're all the most important.
Understood.
That's my thing.
When you look at the Latin vote in this election, he gained. Again, we talked about.
Explain that.
We talk about Brooklyn and the Bronx. He gained Latin voters in New York City, in the Bronx and Brooklyn. Here's what it is. White people, liberals, care more about the illegal immigrants than the people who migrated from that country. That is the truth of it. Okay. And
what does that mean?
That is the absolute truth of it. He gained. So people who came here from Mexico or from Puerto Rico or, you know, Honduras, wherever they came from, South America, anywhere in South America. Okay. Including Mexico, Central America, the people who are illegally coming here now from those areas, those same people who legally came here, maybe generations are living here, they went, I don't want those people here. And white people cannot handle this fact. White people are like, well, we're supposed to be welcoming. And you have Mexican Americans going, fuck those people. I don't want them here. Let them come here legally like I did or like my ancestors did or whatever the case is.
Well, what's the legal way? I mean,
that's the truth of the matter,
they're coming
though.
here. Listen, they're coming here legally. That's the big problem. He says migrants are coming here, illegal immigrants they're coming here and they're illegal immigrants. Well, it's legal to cross the border in terms of when you are seeking asylum. That is perfectly legal. To come here and claim asylum is perfectly legal. So while they're here, they're waiting for their asylum claim to be verified. So to say that they're here illegally is false. So that's who, anybody who crosses the border is not here illegally. That's not how that works. Everybody who walks in over the border is not here illegally. They cross the border and they seek asylum. They say, I'm here because of persecution or
I
whatever.
understand that, but it's pretty much.
You don't know. We don't know the numbers. How many of them? How many of those cases are legitimate? If it's 90%, then 90% of the people are here, and if it's not, then that's then there are people here illegally. But we shouldn't be like, go fuck yourself. We should be like, okay, we'll do something to, we should be investigating all of these things. It shouldn't be get the fuck out. We don't give a shit about you. There's kids involved, there's families involved. This is the difference between people who are on Trump's side are worried about their pocketbook. People who are on Kamala's side, we're worried about people and saying, all right, there are people legitimately hard-pressed people who are coming here because they're in trouble and they need help and they want a better life for their families. They're not coming here to take advantage of everybody or whatever. They're coming here because they are fleeing poverty or war or gangs or whatever the hell they're fleeing, but trouble. They're fleeing problems, and they're coming here seeking asylum. While they're here, they're being vilified. The Trump, they're eating like dogs and cats. No, they're not. You giant idiot. You're just making it so that people hate them. You're trying to get people to hate the things you hate so that they'll vote for you. And that's part of what he was doing the whole time. It came out in a bizarre way when he was saying they're eating dogs and cats, but it all started when he called Mexicans rapists and right in the beginning when he first run, he was,
Understood.
they're sending rapists and lunatics. It's like, well, that's all the people are going to see now, but that's not the case.
I understand, but also you are also at a tipping point where, and we've seen this in New York City, where they're like, hey, this has become a major drag on our city. We can't afford this anymore, and somebody has to do something about it. And it's not just in New York, it's in all these cities.
I'm not saying that something doesn't have to be done.
But I'm saying that meant more to people than the morality of it. Again, women's reproductive rights, illegal immigration, everybody... Moral didn't matter in this election,
which is fucked up.
And I think the other part of it is too, again, going back to it, white people are the only ones who care. The liberals are the only ones who care. There's a good chunk of this country that is tired of being talked down to. They are tired of being made to feel
talked down to.
Oh, that's a big liberal thing of like everybody like, how could you not want to vote for women's? Listen, I've been guilty of saying that too. Like, if you're a woman out there, how could you not vote for? But I learned through this election that it doesn't matter. It might be important, and we've seen it a lot in exit polls. People are like, "Yeah, I want my children to have." I'm sad that my daughter's not going to have the rights I had growing up, but I also think that there's time to fix that and work that out. We need to get this other thing under control. They just viewed these things as more important than some of the other things.
I'm sad that if my daughter has a complication during her pregnancy that she could die. It's very sad. But the bacon's fucking $2 extra. So I think we should work on that first. Let's get that handled.
Listen,
then we'll worry about all the women who are dying from fucked up births, pregnancies.
I'm not going to tell you're wrong, but
it's infuriating.
But your fellow Americans got together and overwhelmingly decided that they don't agree and that they choose that bacon prices are actually more important.
And that, in summation, is why I was very disappointed.
Disappointed isn't okay.
By the result.
That's justified. Well, disgusted is one thing, but disappointed, I understand. I completely understand.
Disgusted. I'm sticking with disgusted because it's. I'm not disgusted by. I'm disgusted that collectively the country went, this guy. That's what I'm disgusted by.
Well, yeah, and listen, I wonder what January 21st is going to be like, because the way
They'll
they're
gladly take in power. Biden's going to hand it over peacefully, and it won't be this big fucking to do. Biden will show up because he's an adult. He's not going to go, I'm not showing up to the inauguration because it was rigged against me, and I really won when I lost. He's going to show up, and he's going to hand over the reins, and that's going to be that, like an adult, like it's been done since John Adams was the only one other person not to do that.
yeah.
But it's like, you're an adult. Show up. Admit you lost. You can't. Till this day, he's never going to admit that he lost the election.
Wouldn't it be great if he
to
did?
Joe Biden.
If he comes in and he goes, I did lose that first one. I just want to let everybody know.
I would love it. But he's never going to do that. He's never going to admit that, because then his whole thing is a sham, which it is. But that'll be admitting that the whole thing is a sham.
All right. So as it stands right now, Trump won by 2.6 million votes. So certainly not the 4 million votes it was, 5 million votes it was on election night.
Right.
I get that it's more, because I see the chat and I know people are like, I see everybody in there. He won 312 to 226. That's a whooping. That is a whooping in today's.
That is an electoral college whooping.
And that's how we pick a president. So
which in itself is fucked up. We should go majority rules.
Even if we did, he would still be the winner. So
fine.
That's
fine. But I think the electoral college is bullshit either way.
Well, that's how we do it. So that's
fine. He legitimately won both ways. I get that. But the electoral college should not even be a thing. It should just be where a country of 300 and something million people, highest number, whoever gets the most votes wins. That's it.
Yeah.
We all live in America. I don't care if you're in this city, this town, that village, whatever. We all live in the same country. We all get one vote. Whoever wins, wins. It shouldn't be, well, this state has 16 votes. This one has 20 votes. This one has 2 votes. That's ridiculous.
No, the ridiculous is Maine, where they're like, all right, this part of Maine gets one vote, one electoral vote, separate from the rest of the state, which gets this other vote. That's ridiculous. But anyway,
it's such an antiquated thing. It's so stupid.
Yeah. What I was going to say was January 21st, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because he's ramping up along with his new border czar to really start to push some people out. Although I will say, I did see an interview the other day with the new border czar guy, and he was like, well, how much? Because they were like, are you really going to be doing this? Like, we know you keep saying you're really going to be doing it. And then he was like, well, how many planes? What's my budget? How many planes do I have? He's like, I don't know any of these things. I'm not going to know until I get in there. So there's a little of that. But let's say the mass deportations do start. Let's say that this does happen. And it's probably going to be horrible from a humanitarian standpoint and a moral standpoint. People are probably going to look down on us. But listen, people looked down on us when we fought a war for 20 years that we had no business starting.
There shouldn't be a but to the end of that. People are going to look down on us.
It's true. And before Iraq and Afghanistan, what?
There's no bright side to ripping people out of their homes and sending them out of the country.
I'm just saying.
Due process. There's no fucking justification for that.
I'm saying the last time everybody looked down on us was Afghanistan and Iraq, and then the last time everybody looked down on us before that was Vietnam. So we've gone through plenty of time periods where we've done things that are not so great.
Doesn't justify we've done it before, we can do it again.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we will survive it. I believe we'll survive it. It won't be a good, fun look. But
there was another. Go ahead.
I was going to say, but it is a problem. And
this is not the solution.
What I think Democrats need to be concerned with is, if we do go through this horrible thing, but it works, where is that going to leave them? Because then you're staring down at 8 years of a Vance presidency. And listen, I'm going to tell you this, and I want to see if I can get through this whole sentence without Frank punching the camera in the face. I could live with a Vance presidency. What I can't live with is a Vance presidency and a Donald Trump Jr. vice presidency. That I'm going to have a lot of trouble with.
Who do you well, I would argue that Vance's running mate would either be Raymore or Flanagan. I don't know if It's one or the other. You can't. I don't think it's going to be Donald Trump Jr.
When did you write that? Because that could not have come up just
It's
now.
been a while. I've
Okay.
been holding on to that for a while.
Day 2 of the cruise, he was like, "Oh, hold on a second, wait a second,
Yeah.
fucking."
Ever since he was picked and that came out of the couch thing, I was like, "Whoa, this is a good one." You keep it right in the old knocker.
Yeah. But have you thought about
so-
that? What if it works? What if it works? What if things do improve? What if things do get better?
It's still not going to justify how we got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the country was built on the back of slaves, but that was horrible.
Yeah.
We got, slaves built the pyramids. Pyramids are wonderful. They're great, historical treasures. But in order to get them, we threw lots of lives at them, and people fucking died building that thing. In
Well, we threw lots of lives at bridges. We just want to get from here to there quicker and easier. We were like, all right, people are going to die from this, and they're like, okay.
As we progress as a society, we are trying to, if we build bridges, we're trying to minimize the amount of casualties or injuries.
It's true.
When it was the pyramids or whatever was going on, it was like, I don't give a fuck, just build it. I don't care who dies or how many people get crushed or whatever the fuck it is. So the ends do not justify the means. And if we're fucking up the lives of 15 million families, that's a huge problem. I don't care if it makes the economy better. Now all of a sudden there are 15 million displaced people, and everybody doesn't know where their family is. There are kids separated from their families. It's a horrible, horrible thing.
It is.
So, but if that brings your bacon price down $1, well, then great for you.
Here's the thing.
Are we kidding? Is that where we are?
Here's the thing. You're a nice person, and
I'll pay an extra $1 for bacon if that means 15 million people don't get displaced from their home.
You will. 76.7 million people won't.
That's where we have a problem. That's where I disagree wholeheartedly.
And I feel like we're heading into an era where it's just going to be a lot of this, I understand your need for moral improvement. I'm with you. But I was pontificating about this the other day. We don't have it ain't here anymore. Morality is really waning big time, not just in politics, but in everything.
Well, that's the thing. Politics is now seeped into almost everything.
Yeah.
And so politics being historically an amoral, no, not amoral, but like one of the least moral arenas you could put yourself in. Now that playground is now part of the everyday world, we're all kind of caught up in it, and we're all playing in the same fucking
but listen
thing.
You're gonna be like, this is hard. We're gonna do stories. There's gonna be kids crying. There's gonna be someone's gonna get shot and killed over this. It's gonna happen.
We want that? Why would we know that shit's possible?
People are gonna look at that and go,
do everything we can to avoid that.
People are gonna look at that and go, well, shouldn't have been here in the first place. That's what they're gonna say, and that's how a majority of the Americans feel.
Which is
and I think
you don't know that person's story.
Well, and I
know
also
what they were running from.
I hear you. Oh, I hear you. I mean, it was sad enough. We saw how many times did we see the photographs of people lying face down, dead in the rivers and everything. Crossing the borders, and you look at that and you go,
lives trying to get here.
Just trying, yeah. How horrible did it have to be back there to be like, oh, it could wind up that way? I'm going to go for it anyway. It's a pretty bad situation.
Yeah, when you got your kid, you take your kids across the desert because you fear where you live for your life and everything. That's horrible. That's a horrible existence. So they're just trying to get somewhere where they could live their lives. They're not trying to get here so that they can take advantage of everything and live the millionaire lifestyle and everything. They're trying to just live their lives and be out of harm's way. That's all they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And are there going to be is there going to be someone who comes over who is not a good person? Yeah, when you're dealing with millions of people, you're going to have a few people that are not good people. That's in any group. You take millions of people in any part of the world, you're going to have some bad people in there. I get that. But that's, you can't shut out millions of people because there are a few that might be a bad person. That's not how life needs to be. And we have people at the border that look into it and seize the drugs and do background checks. We had a bill that was set up to fund the border, but Donald Trump, not interested in helping the border, just wanted to run on the problem, shot the bill down. So how people didn't see that and immediately go, oh, this guy's full of shit. He doesn't care about the border.
I know.
He doesn't care about fixing the problem a year ago.
I don't think even this, despite the fact that Kamala said that a lot of times, and the fact that it was confirmed by Republicans to be true, I don't think it got to a lot of people. And I don't think they cared. And I think you had a lot of Democrats.
If that's what you're telling me, the big problem is the border and all these people coming in, and you shouldn't be here in the first place. Well, there was a solution here. We had a $1 billion funding. I don't remember what the number is, but it was a huge bill to fund the border, to get more security down there and do whatever we had to do. And the guy screaming about the border, about how we need to fix the border, shot it down because it didn't help his campaign.
Well, because he's going to fix it.
Shit about that.
He's going to fix it in a much different way. And
terrible, horrible, brutal
to
way.
You, but to you, I think a lot of people.
Brutal to everyone.
I think a lot of
people out of their homes, driving up and down the block, knocking doors down, and pulling people out of their homes.
I think a lot of people are going to look at that and go, "You shouldn't have been here in the first place." And I think a lot of people are going to think that's horrible. But I'm glad he's willing to do it, because that's
a terrible way to think.
A lot of the people that I've spoken to, who I could have honest conversations with, in the 2-3 weeks it's been, have all said the same thing. Like, this is not an easy job. I don't think she could do it. I think that he's enough of a prick to do it. And I think this is one time where, it's like that same old story. And this was popularized in the West Wing, the mommy daddy complex. When things are good and we want a mommy to just comfort us and whatever, the country votes Democrat. When there's a war pending and we need, toughness or whatever, the country votes Republican. And I think this is one of those instances where they were like, nobody's going to be proud of this. Well, first of all, I think there's people that are like, fuck those immigrants and like, they don't deserve to be here. I think there's a lot of those people. But I think there's a chunk of people that are like, nobody's going to be proud of this. This is going to get messy and really horrible, but it'll be his doing. And
if we just do this for 4 years, it should be fine.
I think a lot of people that went into that voting booth went like this and went like, let's let him handle this. Let's let him get his hands dirty. And then in 4 years, we can decide where we want to go from here.
Here's the other side of it. There was, again, different episode.
Can I just say, hold your thought? Can I just say this? I know this to be true because, again, you look at the people who would sympathize most with people who are trying to come here for a better life, those minorities that just came here, or even in the last generation or two got here, you think that they would have the most sympathy, and that population of voters went, fuck those people. I'm voting for Donald Trump. That's how I know it to be true. Go ahead, you were going to say something.
You don't know why they voted for Donald Trump. It might not have been that, but whatever.
It could have been the economy too. You're right.
It could have been whatever issue. I don't know what they felt strongly about, but there was another episode of Jon Stewart. It was a different episode, but he was talking about this mass deportation. And he showed a clip. I mean, it's a comedy thing, but it kind of rang true a little bit. He goes, do you think this guy, Donald Trump, who they showed him a picture of E. Jean Carroll, the woman he molested,
right? He thought it was right.
And he thought it was. You think he's going to be able to decipher who's here legally and who's here? He can't even tell who his wife is and who the person he raped was. He can't decipher but he's going to run a system that pulls people, the people that shouldn't be here, the illegal people. He's going to pull them out, and he's not going to scoop up some people that are legally here and aren't, have all their paperwork in order and everything. You think they're going to not get picked up as well? You think people who are not at risk of being deported aren't going to accidentally get deported? It's not going to be the well-oiled machine that he's promising.
No, I think it's going to be horrible.
There was a clip they did running clip of how many people he said are illegally here, and it was like over not that long of a time. And at first it was like, well, we're going to deport 5 million people, about 5 million. And then the next clip was, we're about 10 million people. Is we're about 12 million people. And then it was clip after clip, and they got up to like 25 million people. Out of like, and it's like, well, what's the number? Because you don't know what it is, and you're the guy that's going to be in charge of all this.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's either 5 million, somewhere between 5 million and 25 million. But don't worry, you got it. You're gonna go. You're gonna get the right people, the exact people that are here illegally. You're gonna get the right people out of the house, and they're gonna be. There's not gonna be any issues, I'm sure. It's gonna be a giant shit show. And
listen, as I sit here,
to go through this.
Yeah, as I sit here, I can tell you somebody is going to die in this process. At least one, if not multiple people, will be shot and killed. You're going to have footage of families and kids crying and screaming and being torn apart. Is not going to look like the America that we all dream about. And I think a lot of people are going to look at that and go, well, somebody had to do this. And I'm glad it's him. I almost think the shittiness of Trump worked in his favor to a degree where people could go, well, she's not going to do it. The Democrats certainly are not going to do it. And it feels like we kind of need it. So let's let him do it. Like, he's almost the perfect person to do it, because at the end of 4 years, we could all been like, well, we didn't really like him anyway, and vote in the other direction if they really want to.
Yeah, that's if we have elections in 4 years. We don't know.
We'll have elections. Stop it. Come on.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
We'll have elections. Listen, I'm not without worry. But I also, here's the other thing too. And I don't know if you feel this way, but I'll let you respond. I am not as hung up on things as I was the first time around and over the last couple of months. I don't know what happened, but I looked at this and I go, and by the way, we did a week straight without mentioning his name on the show while you were gone, just because I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't.
Well, it's going to be 4 years, man. He's going to be the headline for the next 4 years.
I just don't know if that's true. I don't know.
How could you say that? He was the headline for his first 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. But that's what I'm saying. This is it's going to be, we've already been here. The same way everybody fawned and went crazy over every little farting thing and Kofifi thing that happened.
Well, it's going to be that times 10.
Oh, I disagree.
This time, look, he's not even president yet, and it's already a shit show. It's the cabinet picks and all the what's it called? All the not conspiracy. Scandals with everybody he's putting in the cabinet. Gates.
Really not a lot, though. It's Gates. I think we all agree, right? We all agree we could put Gates over here because
Gates a big one.
That's a huge one.
RFK Jr.
All right, let's talk about RFK for a second. He has clarified, according to him, if we're going to believe it. Here's the problem with the liberal mainstream media. I've been watching this now. It went from one thing to now all of a sudden he's a vaccine denier, and he has come out and said multiple times, "I'm vaccinated. I'm not. My kids are vaccinated. I believe in vaccines." He was opposed to people being forced to take vaccines during the pandemic. Everybody knows my feelings on this. I disagree. Yes, I would have loved 14 years, 15, 20 years of testing. It wasn't that situation. This was extenuating circumstances. It's a different story. But he has raised one concern about that, and that has been turned into he's got a long history of vaccine denial. And that it's not really true. He has, again, I think unfairly, stupidly criticized, you can't have 15 years of research on a vaccine that you need to create now. You know what I'm saying? It was a miracle that we were able to do that.
They were working on this stuff, and they had to speed it up.
Well, the RN, whatever it was, I forget what they called it. The delivery method.
They've been working on vaccines for all this type of shit.
Right.
They just had to gear it towards whatever
But you agree, though, that there's a different story between RFK, who was critical of the COVID
Being
vaccines
critical is one thing.
is different than saying a history of vaccine denial. That's not accurate.
I don't know the history. I'm not going to comment on his past history of vaccine. I don't know it. So I
Okay,
can't be
before
like,
you
well, he
finish
said
your
this and
sentence,
said
though,
that.
you could at least admit that I've shitted on that. I've shit on that guy. I can't believe I just said
Oh,
shitted.
absolutely.
I've shit on that guy
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah. No, I agree. But we're going to take medical advice from the guy who put a dead bear in his car and dumped it in Central Park and made it to look like a fucking bike accident.
Yeah.
And was planning on eating the bear and had a brain worm and ate half of his brain. I mean, like, there's nobody better.
Well, here's the beautiful, you want to really rip your hair out? Everything RFK says about food, I agree with. Everything he says about the toxins and the chemicals that are put in food, I agree with everything RFK says about food. And I agree with it so much so, I agreed with it the first time I ever heard it when Michelle Obama said it over 12 years ago when she was out there advocating for better food. And
I don't want toxins and chemicals in foods. I agree with that.
But who was shitting all over that? And credit the Daily Show and MSNBC, and I don't give MSNBC credit ever. But they put together a supercut of every Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson fuckface out there going, how they're going to tell us how much salt we could put in our thing. It's like, no, she was trying to do it then, and you all shit all over it. Now that your guy is trying to do it, thank God somebody's trying to take this on. It's like she might have made the progress during the Obama administration if you weren't such a fuckface over the whole thing. That's the biggest mind fuck in all of this to me.
I think elections are won and lost by mainstream news. It's because the people who, I think most of the people who voted Republican this time around watched Republican news and said, well, this is all I got.
Let me tell you why that's not true.
Okay.
And this is true. Exit polls, because then we have all this information. The voters voted for Donald Trump and in her district, AOC. So you could not have a farther side of the spectrum between Donald Trump and AOC. But the people who went to the polls to vote that day went, I want him and I want her.
So the same person.
A lot.
It wasn't half did this and half did that. It was Joe Smith, went into the booth and said, Donald Trump, AOC.
There is a lot of people who voted Donald Trump and AOC, so much so that she has been doing town halls to try and figure out why. You can go to her social media and see all this stuff. She's trying to.
Or was it a lot of people voted for Trump and a lot of other people voted for AOC?
No.
It was the same people.
The overwhelming amount of which she won by, right, tells us that
that's weird. But
that
okay,
he got weird. They did not vote up and down the ticket the same way. They voted. They felt like he was the best for the country. They felt like she was the best for the district. And so she's been holding town halls and she's been trying to get a hold of what and trying to understand. And she's been doing this. So last episode, everybody can go back and see it. She took the she, her, hers. She took her pronouns out of her social media profile. Now, she says it was due to space restrictions, kind of suspect timing. She has been doing these little things, and I think this, again, and I know you hate this term and how it's used, but the woke thing of like everybody should have their pronouns in their little profile things and all this stuff and in their email signatures, I think everybody is realizing that is maybe not the best thing.
The reason people put those there is support for people who need to. Who
I understand. I know.
Right.
You don't tell me.
So that's communities.
You don't tell me.
That's. So if leaders put them in their things, so they show support.
But the problem is and again, I know we're picking on the left, right? This extreme left right now.
No. You're picking on the left.
There's plenty of problems on the extreme right that we could pick on, but right now the focus is over here. The focus is here. It's not the it's not the support by just doing that. It's the why don't you have your fucking pronouns in your thing? You don't even have your pronouns. You know, or when people want to fuck around and go, my pronouns are USA, the people going, well, then you're a fucking Nazi and a bigot and all this and that. No, that's not really it. There are people that
here's the
want
thing
to
with that.
identify themselves with pronouns, and there are people that just don't give a shit.
Well, here's the two things with that. One, they're not saying where are your pronouns because they're not there. They're saying that because she took them down. If she'd never put them there.
No, not to her. I'm saying to people in general. There has been shame and
I don't think that, no.
Oh, yes.
I think it's, if it's up there and they're taken down, why'd you take it down? It's not.
No, I'm talking about
people that don't have their pronouns.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who, I'm talking about AOC in this particular instance. I'm talking about people would shame other people for not having pronouns in their profile to begin with. That would become part of arguments on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else.
I've never seen that argument. All right. Well, I don't know about that argument. What was the other part of it?
Well, AOC took him down now, and you know, it's suspicious. I believe she took it down because it's over. She realizes we can't do this anymore.
It's not over, but then there's people that go, see, the reason why people go, my pronouns are USA or whatever, is not because they're proud to be. It's a shot at people who put pronouns. That's a punch. That's a punch down.
Right.
So that's the reason people get pissed at that.
But I think it also becomes, here's the other part of it, and I understand the support, but again, liberal people take it too far, and it becomes this whole other thing where it's like, you know, it's funny. There was a couple of times where I got in trouble on the air. I forget what it was. There was some issue, and there was protests in East Hampton. It was over fucking something. I can't even remember what it was. It was a race thing or something, and just a bunch of white women showed up, and I was just like, can't we let the people who this is really affecting be upset by this, that we have to have you guys coming in? Like, I appreciate the support of it all, but it becomes a hijacking more than anything else. It's like, look at us and how much we care with our signs and everything. It's like, let these people be the focus of it all. They don't need your support. You want to send support, send some donations over, or do something else, not in the public.
Because if but if half the people didn't show up to the protests that make a difference, then they wouldn't have made a difference. So if there's a community that needs support from other communities, why wouldn't more help be better?
Right, but you have an instance now where white people are like, well, this whole thing, and then you have the minority.
They keep saying white people. It's all people are joint.
It is, but
anybody could support or be a supporter of a marginalized group or whoever it is. It's not just white people going.
Yeah, no, I agree. I keep saying white people though, it's because he gained in minority demographics everywhere, all across the board. Women, white women, Latinos, African-American males. He gained in all these, again, all the demographics you think would be sympathizing with.
Or was it the same as last time?
He gained.
From the last election where he lost to Joe Biden, where he got roughly the same amount of votes, he gained.
He gained in all these areas. You can go through the districts that Joe Biden won, the percentage that he won by, if she won by a considerable less amount.
It's depressing.
That's how they voted, because they don't have that. They're like, hey, I have to go live, and I get
that, but here's what's going to happen now. Here's the economy is on the mend right now, and prices are dropping.
Yep.
So they're going to drop and drop and drop. Trump's going to take over. They might continue to drop, and then he's going to take credit for it.
He's going to take credit for it.
I'm the president, and look at the prices.
Well, he took credit for,
and you inherited this.
He took credit for Obama's economy the first time around, and anybody who tells you different does not understand economics.
Exactly. So now the economy is righting itself. Right.
You won't see the results of his economic policies from day one until 18 to 24 months into his presidency.
Yeah, he's going to take credit for the upswing in the economy because, oh, look, I'm president now, and look at he's going to inherit this gorgeous fucking thing, and he's going to take all credit for it. So it's going to just be another con job, and it's going to be just a ridiculous. There you go.
I've never heard the term elite-splaining before, but I got it
That's
now.
very woke of you, Paul.
Liberals are not monolithic. Wealthy liberals tend to be the annoying ones. What does monolithic mean? Hold on a second.
That means one lithic. If I got to explain everything to you, Anthony, I don't know how we're going to do this show.
It means not containing more than one lithics.
If you have multi-lithic, then we got something. But when you're monolithic, they're the ones writing it all.
They're the one lithicking.
Right.
Oh, shit. Wait, monolithic. We're going to get down to the bottom of this. First of all, I didn't spell it right.
Good. I can't
Formed
wait.
of a single large block of stone. All right, let's go to the second definition. I don't think that's what he means. Large, powerful, and intractably indivisible and uniform.
I fell asleep a second. What'd you say?
They're not all wealthy. Is that way? Paul, can you
I need my
tell us
decoder ring.
what you really meant to say in normal people language? Because you'd think if I was such an East Coast elite, I'd know what the fuck monolithic means, but I'm having some trouble with it.
But we're not. Liberals are not monolithic. So
I think that's what he's saying, that they're not all wealthy.
Right. Well, wealthy liberals. No, but the wealthy liberals tend to be the annoying ones.
Yeah, I think. Okay, is that what he's saying? Because that's definitely true. Because again, the Democrats were the party of the working people. They were the blue collar party. And
why aren't they that now?
Because they're so concerned with transgender rights, which affects.
That's ridiculous. No,
people don't fucking
issue.
care.
That's an issue because there are many. That's an issue. But it's
I'm just saying
only issue.
I understand that, but I'm saying the amount of time.
You're making it sound like they're so concerned with this thing that everything else falls by the wayside. It's like, no, that's one of the things, but it's not the only issue. And it's not like that. Whenever they get in front of a mic, it's nothing but transgender.
I think you're right, but they've been branded that way. It certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
Well, then people aren't paying attention because if you just look at the debate, if you wanted a clear shot of,
she kicked the shit out of him in the debate.
Kicked the shit out of him. He laid out all the plans. He had all these ideas, and he had what was it?
Concepts of a plan.
Concepts of a plan, which he was president for 4 years. He had another 4 years to think about it. He was campaigning before that. He still doesn't have a healthcare plan. So this concept of a plan bullshit, if you don't see right through that already, I don't know how to help you.
I think either they don't see. I think there's a large amount of people who don't see through it, which is sad. But I think there's people who do see through it, and they're just like, I don't care. Economy and the border. That's what's most important to me now.
Which, okay, economy's getting better. And the border, we had a solution to. I can't keep going over this again.
Yeah, no, I know, but again, it's not your fault, and it's not even his fault. And here's the other thing. Here's one thing she definitely fucked up. Well, not as bad as Donald Trump. Well, look at what Donald Trump is proposing, and I'm proposing something that's not, that's better than that. Like that whole thing, it didn't work. It didn't work. You're not being Donald Trump worked for Joe Biden in 2020. It did not work this time around.
Well, that I feel like was a chunk of it, but then she actually campaigned on ideas. She actually had solutions to things. She was giving it child tax credits, forgiving the loan, student loan. All this stuff was plans. He had zero plans except
the concepts.
Some concepts of a plan. Like I don't. I'll never. As much as you want to explain it to me, I'll never get it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'd love you to wrap your head around the Democrats fucked up majorly, and people are tired of being talked down to. People are tired of the machine. When I think about it, the biggest thing I can sympathize with is that machine concept of that.
Doesn't make sense to me because he's the biggest. There's a machine, and then there's just a con job.
Yeah,
I mean, you're it's one or the other, and you picked the con artist, the guy who's just ripping you off.
Here, look at it this way. There was somebody on this podcast who said making an issue out of the Puerto Rican garbage island joke was a mistake, and who took a lot of shit for it. And it turned out that, I'm sorry, but I was right about that. They tried to manufacture
I don't think that was
a controversy.
I don't think you were right.
They did. They tried to manufacture a controversy of look at how immoral he is. And it turns out morality wasn't on the ballot this time around.
Which doesn't make sense to me.
It does to people.
It should always be on the ballot.
I understand, but it does. See, I think what you're missing here is the people that would have voted Democratic, but they couldn't afford the morality. They couldn't afford to do the right. I'm sure if you talk to a bunch of people, they were like, I'd like to vote for the party of women's rights and everything else, but I can't afford, to live where I'm living right now. I am so fucked paycheck to paycheck. And I don't know if he's going to do it, but I know she's not. And so, because she's being handed to us, so I'm going that way.
But you can't look at him and go, he's going to fix it, because he didn't do it the first time. He gave tax cuts to the billionaires, and that didn't do anything for anybody.
No, didn't seem to bother anybody.
He did nothing.
I will admit that's very strange. I'm very much with you on this one. I'm saying I'm with you on this one. I admit that one is nobody seems to remember. Very short-term memory. Very, very short-term memory.
Yeah, just review that's all I was at. Just review his last presidency. That's all. And you'll see what he did and what he didn't do.
What's amazing is, no president expands their approval rating over time, but everybody views that time as better.
Which is ridiculous.
Well, I wonder how much of it has to do with we've been in such a weird place since the pandemic that those 3 years before the pandemic seem like the good old days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you can't discount a quarter of his presidency. That was the last year of his presidency that hundreds of thousands of Americans died.
I'm talking about his presidency, but I'm kind of talking about in general.
No, I know.
Those pre-pandemic days, don't they feel kind of sweet?
Well, only because it was a different world, but it was still every day was a headache. And what is he going to do now? And
with him,
who's he going to piss off? And what ally is he going to fuck over? And what treaty is he going to destroy? And it was a nightmare every day, waiting to see what he tweeted.
Well, I don't know. Again, I don't know if everybody's going to go for those things more this time around. I know I certainly have lost we can't sit here and hem and haw over every time he farts, I can't do it.
Well, it's going to happen. I know we shouldn't, and we probably, but that's what's going to be the headline for the next 4 years, and that's what the country voted for.
Yeah,
the country voted for him to be the headline for the next 4 years.
I wonder though. I wonder if his things are going to pop to the top of the news cycle the way they did the first time around. I feel like no. I think you feel like yeah. Okay, so you feel like yes. I think we disagree on that. I could be wrong. I'm not confident in it.
He's slowly coming back to Twitter. I don't think his truth, whatever the hell is as big
it's not
anything as Twitter was.
It's not.
But once he's president, that's going to change. All his stuff is going to be important. Whatever he writes is a presidential statement, so it's going to become the thing.
I don't know. I think people even ignored the shit he was saying on the campaign, because every time he said something, we were like, you really going to vote for this? And people were just like, nah, he don't mean that shit. I think that's people.
Yeah. So he said, I love it. They voted for him because he's the guy who says what he means. But when he says something, you don't really have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
The guy speaks his mind. He says what we're all, But when he speaks his mind, don't pay attention because it's all bad shit.
He did do the right thing with Biden in the. I will say this: the election night. I don't know if you saw it. He did say the word "unite." And that was a big thing.
Well, it's in the name of our country,
I'm just saying. He's like, we all got to come together. I don't think he's ever really said that before.
He had said that before.
And then when he went with Biden, he was like, all that stuff all that shit he said about putting, and it was the same thing with Hillary. We talked about this the other day. Same thing with Hillary. Oh, we're gonna lock her up. We're gonna lock. Then he won, and he was like, "Who gives a shit?" And he's like, "I'm not gonna lock her up. I don't give a fuck about that." Like he does do that from time to time. Like he does just say a lot of crazy shit, and then goes, "Nah, that's not. We're past it."
So he speaks his mind. He tells the truth, but when he says stuff, we're not supposed to pay attention to it because it's all.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose what's real.
He didn't mean that. Yeah. When
Yeah.
when it's bad shit, he didn't really mean it. But when it's something that you agree with, that's the truth. That's what it is.
Right.
Okay.
Now you got it. I don't know how it all works, but I'm sure somebody will give us a chart at some point.
There's a map of it somewhere.
Yes. Somebody's gonna be like, let me explain. When he said this, he meant this. And when he said this, I know this was the same thing as this, but in this instance, it went this way. And in this instance, he means this thing. Like, okay.
It's on the back of a cereal box somewhere.
All right, Frankie C. Got anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Besides the election, how fucking depressing is it just to be back in normal life and not be on a cruise with cocktails? And
we're looking for our next cruise, our next trip. We're already looking them up. We're actually surprised we don't already have one scheduled.
Yeah, that's the move, right? Don't you usually? Isn't that good to book one before the other one ends?
Yeah, we don't have anything on the horizon yet, but we're looking around.
But that's also exciting because the possibilities are endless.
True.
Could be anywhere.
Could be anywhere. Remember to pick up Oval. You can read it anywhere because you could download it digitally too. It's available on Amazon. Erin wrote a great book called Oval. Link in the description below. Hard copy or digital copy.
Is there a possibility we'll get a game and an appearance from Erin C on Friday? Is that a possibility?
I believe so. I believe there's a game.
Been missing the games. We've been missing. Let me tell you something. Shows have been terrible without the fucking games. I can tell you that.
I haven't seen it. I agree.
Yeah, it's not you so much not being here a problem, but the games not being here is an issue.
I agree.
Show me potato salad.
We'll see you guys Friday.
Maybe we should go now.